Cost Cutters is your family's full-service salon specializing in cuts, colors, and curls. Visit any one of our professional stylists today and get the look you want for less.
Hi, this is Rich Dahman, Superintendent with Winona Area Public Schools, and I'm here with my first time on Making the Grade on the interviewer side of the aisle. So I'm excited to be here. We have a great program for you today with some wonderful guests. And I want to start by introducing our two guests. We have Britta Brown and Kim Moran from Winona Area Public Schools, both teachers at Goodview Elementary. Welcome to both of you. And can we start by having you both share a little bit about your background with Winona Area Public Schools?
Sure, I'll go first. I'm originally from Winona, so it's fun that I'm able to teach here as well. I have taught for 7 years total, but I've been in the Winona Area Public Schools for 6 years, all in 3rd grade at Goodview.
And I am not from Winona originally. I am from Virginia, Minnesota. Moved down here 6 years ago and have been teaching 4th grade at Goodview Elementary ever since.
All right, great. And Goodview Elementary has an exciting creative workspace called Makerspace. What does that workspace look like, and can you give a little description about what happens in the Makerspace?
Sure. The physical appearance of it is we have 2 large tables for the students to work at. There's a large area rug if they're doing something that moves them to the floor, or if they just want to spread out a little bit more. We have 4 big beanbag chairs that they can sit in if they're doing an activity like knitting, or we have some how to draw books. Those activities might be best suited in those chairs. And then it's just seeing as Goodview is an open concept school, it's really in the heart of the school, in the center area, so all classes are able to pass by it and kind of see what others are working on and that sort of thing.
And then in the actual space, we have many drawers filled with all kinds of activities that the kids can work on. We have coding games, we have robots that they can learn to operate and do different tasks, and we have, as Britta mentioned, knitting items. They can make loom bracelets. We have Ingeno sets, which are kind of like Legos, but they have motors on them to make them run. We actually have Legos, and we have upcycling materials where they can just take those materials like paper towel rolls and egg cartons and make an invention or a creation of their choice. So lots of different things that the kids can use, just very hands-on.
That sounds really exciting and great experiences for the students. Can you share a little bit more about how the space is utilized by students, and if it's typically, are they working individually, or are they working with partners on these activities?
How they work is their choice. A lot of them choose to work in small groups. Some work on their own. It really is student choice. And as far as that, the space is utilized in for most teachers, 45-minute block. And the teacher will split their class into 2 groups. One group will be in the computer space, while the other class is in the maker space, and then they'll flip-flop. So being able to split the class and having smaller groups keeps the noise level down and just kind of gives everyone more space and comfort to work.
All right, great. Can you share a little bit about how and in what ways Makerspace benefits our students?
We believe that the Makerspace is just a great opportunity for the kids to get hands-on experiences that they might not get outside of school, for example, with the robots and technology. And it also just creates independent problem solvers because the teachers aren't helping the students learn how to, for example, use the robots or how to make a scarf with the knitting looms. It's up to them to figure it out on their own, so it's very student-centered, and they have to use their resources and research and use each other to figure out how to do things very, using a lot of team building and teamwork to figure out how to create or make, and just kind of gives them a fun, different kind of STEM learning.
Yeah, it sounds like it really is a great way to incorporate those STEM activities and helps students develop lifelong skills that they'll be using as they move throughout the K-12 system, but also after high school.
Yes, very much.
Excellent. Can you describe a little bit about the process that was used to bring Makerspace into Goodview School?
It originally started when Marianne Texley was our principal. She had attended a Minnesota Principals Conference, and Byron Elementary School had presented at that conference about their Makerspace. And so she came back really excited and shared with Kim and I what she had seen, what she had learned, and said, I think we could do this. I think Goodview would be a great spot for it because of the open concept and have an area that I have in mind. So she sent us to Byron. We took an observation day and went and saw their space, which is amazing. They really have kind of fine-tuned it over the years. And so we met with their superintendent and their principal and learned about what their process was, learned about the materials they had. And then once we came back, that was in the spring, and Marianne was retiring that spring. So when Mrs. Eisner came in the next fall, she was immediately on board with us. And so the three of us together really started planning at that point, getting materials in place and kind of designing the space from there.
Great.
The rest is history.
Well, we have the history, and how about
Right.
the future? How about the future of Makerspace? Are there some things that you're planning for throughout this year, or even in upcoming years?
Sure. I think right now we're just, since we're still in the early stages, just getting all the students acclimated in the space and getting the teachers comfortable with bringing their students in there, and just getting the kids comfortable within the space and learning routines and expectations. And once that's kind of down, we hope that we can use this space to integrate some of our curriculum into it. I, for example, in 4th grade, am planning to use it. We do an inventors unit, an invention unit, so I'd have my students go in there and use the upcycling materials to create their own invention prototype. And I know 3rd grade does a forces in motion unit, so they would use that to do some forces in motion experiments and different things in there. So really just integrating our curriculum that we have into the Makerspace and utilizing the materials that we have in there.
Wonderful. Do you have any examples of feedback that you've gotten from students or from parents or other staff members about how they're feeling about this opportunity?
The students beg to go, and if it's not one of your Makerspace days, they'll be sure to ask, is it a Makerspace day today? So they really seem to be enjoying it and are looking forward to it. It's nice to see students talking here and there, what are you going to do in there today, or do you want to work with me, just kind of like pre-planning. So it really is exciting for us to see that they're so excited about using the space.
Yeah, excellent.
And I've heard from parents too of some of the students that I have, and they just say, what is this new Makerspace? So I hear about it all the time, so I kind of explain it to them, and their again, the kids are just super excited, and it doesn't take any classroom management on our part when we're in there. They are so engaged and focused that it is amazing.
Yeah, and I know we really have a goal as a school district to look for ways to increase that student engagement so that students are active in their classrooms, so hands-on activities. And we've had the STEM program at Jefferson School for a few years, and we're looking at rolling that out district-wide, and it'll incorporate some of the things that you're talking about, but also kind of an expansion of that too. So it's exciting to hear, as I'm new to the school district, but exciting to hear that this program is going so well.
Yeah.
Is there anything else that either of you would like to add about the Makerspace program?
I maybe should say that the original dollars towards it, Marianne had designated some of the gala funds, those AAA dollars. One of the, I think 2016, she designated the money to go towards that. So that's how we originally got the funding to get some of the materials and the tables and things started for the space. So.
All right, yeah, and that's referring to the Winona Area Public Schools Foundation does their annual fundraisers, their gala, and it's a great way for community members to get involved, to make some donations that directly impact students in our schools. So that's a perfect example. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Anything else that you want to add today?
I don't think
All right, I
so.
want to thank you very much for coming in and being on Making the Grade, and I hope that the rest of the week and the school year goes very well for you. So thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot for your time. We have some other guests coming up with our next segment, but it was great to hear some information about our Makerspace program.
Perfect.
Perfect.
Perfect. Getting the right look at the right price
Perfect.
is always in style. At Cost Cutters.
Located in the professional building in the Winona Mall, 507-454-6030.
What's a Southern girl?
It's waking up before the sun rises. It's loving the simple things in life like the dirt roads that lead you home. It's working hard to get what you want. It's hanging your own stands, breaking your own ground, and strategizing every little move for that one moment when everything you've worked for is standing right in front of you. Even if I fail a million times, I keep pushing myself till I'm exhausted, filthy, and about to give up. And that's when the adrenaline hits.
Hi, we're back with the second section of today's Making the Grade, and this is Rich Dahman, Superintendent with Winona Area Public Schools. We have two guests with us today. Dawn Waller-Lewick is the principal at Washington Kosciuszko Elementary School, and Kelly Halverson is our Director of Learning and Teaching. We're going to talk a little bit about an exciting opportunity that we have at WK, and I'm going to start off by asking Washington Kosciuszko Elementary has just received a grant from the Winona Community Foundation for the Early Learning Program. What caused you to apply for the grant, and what led up to that application process?
I'll start because I was fortunate to receive a phone call from a community member who just was very interested in helping us with early learning and literacy. Was just amazed at kids that weren't able to read by third grade. So reached out and said that there was this opportunity, and was there a pilot or was there somewhere that demographics and early learning would be an emphasis that we could look at some type of program to help them. So the first thing that came to mind was WK because of our conversations together with Ms. Waller-Lewick and the kindergarten classroom, and really making sure that because they come in at such different levels, how can we by the end of kindergarten get them where they need to be in order to get to first and second grade. So that's kind of where the seed was planted, and then we worked a little bit on the application and just kind of put together some demographics and some reasons and a plan, and it was accepted. So.
Wonderful. Can you share a little bit more about some of the specifics of the grant and what the amount and what it has provided?
So it's a 3-year grant that provides 2 literacy educational assistants. So you often hear about special education EAs, and these are actual general education assistants who are highly qualified, meaning they at least have to have a 2-year degree. We're very fortunate with our candidates. They have both 4-year degrees, and so the grant was to get literacy assistants that could help in the classroom during the literacy time and even during throughout the day, and be able to work with all the kids while the teacher's pulling small groups or working with other groups of students that they could help. And so our model was actually a school-wide Title I approach. As the district looks at possibly consolidating some buildings, that's the direction we'd like to go, so we can help all kids, not just those that qualify. So we're looking at these next 3 years as kind of a pilot for us as to, is this the type of model that we could see some results with our reading scores with our kiddos? So.
Great. What students will benefit from the early learning program?
Hopefully all of our students will benefit, because the great thing about that is the 2 educational assistants can work with the students at their level. So the kids that are lagging behind in literacy skills, and they're working with math as well, they can support and boost. The ones that are at grade level, they can kind of enrich, and then the ones that are above, they can provide some enrichment activities. So they've been doing pull-out methods outside of the class, but then when they get their guided reading groups going, they'll push into a group and take probably those higher kids during that time and have some opportunity to work with them and do some fun things as well. So they know the kids very well. We have embedded them into lunch and recess to help them work on social emotional skills as well. And that has been very beneficial, because I think before, the kindergartners are a little vulnerable and they go into the lunchroom and go to recess and go, who are these supervisors? And they don't have that relationship. And this has been really helpful to set a good tone and help them get on the right path in that regard.
Great. You spoke a little bit about this, but maybe you can add some more about how will the grant monies be utilized, and maybe a little bit about what's in place right now and what that will look like as this year and the next 3 years continue.
It's exciting because it pays for their positions, but it also provides professional development for the two people, and it also, they have time built in their day for planning with the classroom teachers. So they're very involved in conversations about what's best for the kids and partnering with the classroom teachers. They also sit in on the professional learning community time each week that they have that, and so it's been very valuable. We've had our reading specialist, Courtney Anderson, and our Title I coordinator, Carla Winter, also working with them and providing some professional development. So it's really amazing to have such awesome and rich training for them, and I think they really appreciate it as well.
Mm-hmm.
Great. You spoke a little bit about the PLC time, or the professional learning communities. Can you share, maybe both of you share a little bit about what goes on in those meetings, both at the district level, across the district, and specifically at WK?
I'll start kind of big picture.
Yep.
So there's 4 questions we want our PLCs to answer. The first one, what do we want our students to know? So when they leave this class, whatever subject or whatever area they're working on, what do we want our students to know? And that's around the state standards and making sure that we've heard the word power standards, and we're really making sure we've identified some key things that they need to know before they go to the next level. The second question is how are we going to know? What kind of assessment or what kind of activity are we going to do to make sure that these kids can show us that they know and be able to do this? And then the third and fourth questions are really what I think a lot of our teachers are working on now is, so what about these kids that we know based on this assessment didn't get it? How are we going to help them, and how are we going to get them where they need to be? Because we've said this is important for them to know. And the other one is, what about these kids that have got it? They know what they're doing. How can we enrich their learning so that they're not twiddling their thumbs and being bored? So that's just kind of the big overview, and I think at the kindergarten level they really drill down. So
they're definitely looking, each professional learning community operates a little bit differently because of the personnel involved. And some teams are really, they just soar and take off on the questions and really are digging into that data and really working on what's best for kids. And I think all of them are striving for that. What we have done this year is, I like the new format that we don't have the same facilitator each time. People are rotating positions, so it gives everybody that ownership of the PLC. You can't just passively sit there and not participate. So we have also at WK embedded other people, our SPED teachers or our gifted and talented, our math specialists, into each different grade level. And kindergarten especially has a lot of people working together, putting their heads together to kind of come up with how we can get that early intervention and get them caught up at grade level. So I feel that group really works well at digging down and looking for best practices and techniques that will help the kids be successful.
So in a nutshell, those professional learning communities are groups of teachers that are working together to decide and to make determinations on how to best meet the needs of all of our students. Right.
Absolutely.
And it's the best vehicle we have. And I think the cool thing about it is that I think our teachers actually now see that as that really valuable opportunity. It takes a while to get it going and to understand the process, and because we had so much work to do around the standards, empowering them, but now they're ready to hit the ground and do the real meat of the work.
Super.
Yeah.
Back to the early learning programs. With that program, can you talk a little bit more about how that's structured and what the specific goals are for the program?
I think the big goal is that kindergarten students would leave being at grade level in both reading and math. That's a lofty goal, but we want to ensure that as many students can be there as possible, because like Kelly alluded to earlier, our kids come to us with such varied backgrounds. Some have preschool experience, some don't. Some are just turning 5, some are 6. So there's big differences in trying to close that gap early on and put a lot of resources into that early intervention, because the earlier we catch them up, the better it will serve them later. So that's really the big push and the hope of the grant. And so we will report back to the foundation on the data and how the kids are growing throughout the year.
And I think the 3-year piece is really exciting because, you know, so they'll end this kindergarten, and then for 3 years, I mean, and we still haven't really worked out, you know, you asked about the future of it, and so what does it look like when these guys go to first grade, and what is, you know, how can we utilize this resource? Because the goal really is that at the end of kindergarten, but really the state says by reading by 3rd grade. So by 3rd grade, we want to make sure that all of our kids are at grade level. So the really big goal is reading by 3rd grade. So for 3 years, how can we utilize this?
And speaking of the future, how do you see the early learning program benefiting Winona Area Public Schools, the district, and the community down the road?
Well, hopefully, if that goal is met and reached, and I think by putting the resources in kindergarten, we are able to take other resources and spread them out into that 2nd and 3rd grade levels, so that hopefully, if they're not quite there, we can catch them at those other opportunities. But like Kelly said, that school-wide title model is really important, and I think that could be really beneficial. I've worked in buildings like that, and I think that will allow us to use our resources to reach all of our kids.
Yeah.
Well, this is one of many exciting programs that we have going on in Winona Area Public Schools, and some great partnerships with the community. In this specific case, the Winona Community Foundation with a very generous grant that we've been awarded in the previous Making the Grade segment. The WAPS Foundation grant was instrumental in helping us start up our Makerspace program. So we really value those partnerships in the community and feel that they add a lot to our students. Is there anything else that either of you would like to add about the early learning program or how things are going at your school or around the district in learning and teaching?
I would just want to thank the foundation and the community member that reached out, and also our 2 EAs that we were able to hire, both, well, one in the community. I mean, they were such a great asset and a find for this position, and just really care about kids and have a wealth of experience. So they have been a great addition. So,
and I would echo that. I'm really grateful for the foundation. We had one of the members come to our kindergarten popsicles on the playground and kind of check things out, and they were able to meet the 2 EAs, and we've invited, you know, the foundation to come in and check things out, and we're looking forward to presenting our data to them at various times. So it's a great opportunity, and we're excited.
And I know that there's been some mention in local newspapers about the program, and it's great to be able to get information out to the community about what we're doing. And then I know that the school board, when you and some of your staff came to the last school board meeting, the school board was very happy to find out more information about the program and to hear about how well that's going so far.
yeah. It's been a great thing. So.
All right. Well, thank you, Dawn. Thank you, Kelly,
Yes,
for
thanks for having us.
being on Making the Grade. It's great to have you here, and I want to thank everyone for tuning in today. And we look forward to as we continue the 2017-18 school year with Winona Area Public Schools. We look forward to being able to highlight some of our great programs and student activities that we have going on.